Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a report that maps out a truly massive shift in the AI landscape. We're talking about a move from the kind of AI that you have to tell what to do to a new kind of AI that actually acts for you. So let's get into the investment roadmap for this incredible new era. Okay, so let's get right into it. This deep dive report comes from the Bank and Finance Consulting Group. And let me tell you, this isn't just about another cool tech trend. They're framing AI as a fundamental force that is completely rewriting the rules of the game for finance, for technology, for pretty much everything. And to kick things off, the report just drops this number that is, well, it's hard to even wrap your head around. The projection is that the AI market is going to rocket from just under $280 billion today to a mind-blowing $1.8 trillion by 2030. So you have to ask, what in the world is driving that kind of explosive growth? And maybe more importantly, if you're an investor, where is all that value actually being created? Here's how we're going to break it down. We'll look at that trillion-dollar future, size up the market, dissect the value chain, and then, this is the big one, we'll get into the rise of agentic AI. After that, we'll cover the investment playbook and, of course, the risks you need to watch out for. All right, let's get right to the core thesis of this report. Because the authors, they don't just see AI as, a pretty good bet. No, they're calling it a once-in-a-generation opportunity. And you have to ask why. What makes it so compelling? Well, the report argues it's this really rare mix of things. It's a high-conviction bet with much better risk-adjusted returns. And it's all being fueled by this powerful structural demand that just isn't going away. So where does a number like 1.8 trillion even come from? It's not just pulled out of thin air. Let's dig into the numbers and the powerful forces that are really propelling this growth forward. I mean, just look at the jump on this chart. We are not talking about some slow, steady climb here. The base case projection is a leap to over 1.6 trillion by 2030. That works out to a compound annual growth rate of up to 35%. That's not just growth, that's an absolute explosion. And this isn't just wishful thinking. These are real, tangible drivers that are happening right now. You've got 65% of organizations already using generative AI on a regular basis. Pair that with over $150 billion in capital expenditure from the big cloud providers. These aren't just forecasts. They are active, massive investments and widespread adoptions. Okay, so with all this money pouring into the market, we get to the really big question. Who actually wins? Where's the value, the profit, really being captured in this new AI-driven economy? The report uses this fantastic classic gold rush analogy to break it all down. Think of it in 3 layers. First, you have the infrastructure. Those are the pickaxes. Then you have the platforms, which are like the railroads. And finally, you have the applications. Those are the gold panners themselves, out searching for gold. Now, this tells a really fascinating story. Just look at the gross margins. That infrastructure layer, the one selling the pickaxes, is commanding margins of 70 to 80%. And why is that? Because it's an oligopoly. It's built on these huge R&D costs and super specialized technology. It turns out, in a gold rush this hot, the most profitable and defensible position is selling the tools. Okay, now the report pivots to what it identifies as the next massive shift in AI. We are moving beyond thinking of AI as just a tool and into this new era of autonomous, or as they call it, agentic AI. You can see a pretty clear path here. Right now, we're in the phase of perfecting the large language models that we use every day. But look what happens starting around 2025. The whole game changes. The focus shifts to agentic AI, which is a way more powerful and proactive way for AI to work. And that's even before we get to massive breakthroughs like AGI. And this right here is the absolute key concept. AI is evolving from a tool that just reacts to our commands to a system that acts independently to achieve the goals we set. Think about it this way. It's the difference between asking AI to write an email for you versus asking it to manage your entire marketing campaign. It's a huge leap. So if that's the future, as an investor, how do you play that shift? Where do you put your money as we start moving toward this world of agentic AI? Well, the report lays out a pretty clear playbook. The investment strategy here is unambiguous. You double down on infrastructure. The report recommends a full 40% of your portfolio allocation goes to this foundational layer. And the logic is actually pretty simple. Every single advance in AI, especially this massive leap to more complex agentic systems, is going to require exponentially more raw computing power. And here's what that strategy actually looks like with real companies. Tier 1, that's the chip makers, NVIDIA, AMD, the guys making the essential hardware. Tier 2, those are the cloud platforms and model providers, like Microsoft and Google. And then Tier 3, those are the companies building specific applications on top of it all, like OpenAI and Palantir. But this new era of agentic AI, it's not all opportunity. The report is quick to point out some really significant new risks, especially when it comes to the rules of the road, governance. And a huge risk for any company operating globally is this diverging regulatory landscape. You've got the European Union with its very prescriptive, risk-based AI Act on one side, and on the other, you have the US with a much more voluntary, market-driven approach. This creates a really tricky and, frankly, expensive compliance puzzle for any company trying to work on a global scale. And so, the report leaves us with this one really critical question. This shift from experimental to agentic AI isn't just about getting new software. It's a fundamental change in how we operate. It's going to require new rules, new skills, and a complete rethink of how business and technology work together. The big question is, are we actually ready for it? If you want to dive even deeper into all the financial models and the really detailed analysis here, the full report is available to you directly from the Bank and Finance Consulting Group on their website.